With our training, we are ready to rock and roll. Welcome for you guys that hung in there. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. D, Miss Rhonda, Chantal, Miss Erica, Bernice, Epic God, and that must be Godwin. And Samira, it's great to see you guys on. Let's dive into, let me make sure that that is sharing into the group the way it's supposed to. And then we're going to dive into our quick start training. Just want to make sure that that is actually okay. Yep, it's actually streaming. So let's go ahead. Always good to see you. Thank you, Miss Erica. All right, so let's get into the fast start training, because a lot of times when people get started, the question is, what is it that I need to actually do? So I want to cover a good bit of information, and again, hopefully you have a pen. If not, if you're not in a place where you can take notes, of course, our thing over here at Epic is we record. At least I do. I record everything to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get the information, because we know right now some people are at work, so we'll replicate this later on tonight at 9 o'clock. We have another presentation and training, but our UK champions and our Ghana and Nigeria champions at 9 o'clock, it's like 2 a.m., right? So we have to, right now there, it's what, 9 o'clock? It's 9 o'clock there in Ghana and the UK, and it's 10 o'clock in Nigeria. So we're trying to accommodate everybody, if that makes any sense. So all right, so how do you launch your Epic journey? How do you launch, whether you're going to grow in Forex or whether you're going to build? How do you actually launch? So let's start with some of the basics. First things first, understand that success starts with being coachable. It's a good idea to write that down. It's a good idea to read that on a daily basis. And it's not that anybody knows. It's not even that you may not know something more than somebody else, right? But when you are on that Forex side, when Coach Max is training, when David Schinkel is training, when some of those leaders are actually training, it's a good idea, right? It's a good idea to actually, listen to what they're saying and take it in, because even though you may know more, they may know something that you don't. Like all of us, none of us know everything, because even on the building side, all of our goals are, as coaches, is to just develop your full potential, to make sure that we increase your skill set, support you so that you can go back and do the same thing for the next guy. So the key to being a successful coach is always going to be a successful student. Does that make sense? One of the things that I say, okay, that you should do with your business is actually to decide a business name. Right, to decide a business name in advance, right? To go ahead and, for me, I decided on Blue Line Forex, right? I have bluelineforex.com. I have bluelineforex@gmail.com. So I haven't done anything with it, but at least that's the name of my company. Oftentimes people get started in business and they say, I'm in Epic. No, you're not in Epic, right? You are a subcontractor to a parent company called Epic. So what is the name of your subcontracting business, right? Because listen, we're not in Epic. There's nothing we can write off for Epic, right? Everything that we write off is all about you and your company. So I always recommend, right? I always recommend that we set up a business name. So think about it. One of our champions, her name is Patience. She originally said it was going to be Red Phoenix Forex. And then as she started going through some things, she decided she's going to call it Phoenix Red. So you may come up with a name today. That may not be the same name tomorrow. It's okay. Next, 2020 is a wrap. Yes or yes, 2020 is a wrap. So we have to start setting our sights on what? On 2021. So the question is going to be, we want to look at your 2021 and we want to set your goal, right? Where do you want to be 30 days from now? So let's just say if you're on the Forex side, okay, where do you want your Forex income to be in 30 days? Do you want to be where you've at least made your first profit? Do you have a goal for your first, like by January 30th, I'd like to be averaging $25 profit a day. By the end of March, I'd like to be averaging $50 a day in profit, or $100 a day. By the end of January, I'd like to be out of my demo account into my live account. Whatever it is, whatever your actual goals are, I'm going to challenge you to do this. I want you to write them down. Get yourself a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to write down your goals. It's kind of like getting in your car and saying, let's go. And in your heart and mind, you know where you want to go, but you never plug it into the GPS, right? So the car is like, so where are we headed? You know, that's the way goals are. It's kind of like once you set the goal, so you get in the car, you put in your destination in your GPS. That's where I'm headed. How am I actually going to get there? I'm going to have a plan of action, right? And one of the things that Coach Max is very good, and what the 2-week syllabus does is it kind of gives you that plan of action where you can navigate, right? Where you can begin to navigate through your business, right? So the plan of action, those steps that you're going to actually take, that's kind of like the GPS gives you: turn left, turn right, into the interstate here, exit the interstate here. There is a plan that the GPS has to get you there, and the action steps are you got to take that exit, you got to get on the interstate, you got to make that U-turn, you got to turn left, whatever the case may be. We got to take action. So I want you to seriously look at, and I just got even though I still had months that I could go through on my calendar, I don't know, I had a wild hair the other day, so I ordered me another calendar. This one is called Be Happy, It Drives People Crazy. I just thought, I love the coloring and I like the words. But so my calendar starts, right? The calendar starts now. And so what I do like about this particular company is that, like, it starts off with, and that page just tore. Now I don't like that. It starts off with, your month, right? It starts off with your month and what you want to do for the year. Like, where am I now? Where do I want to be? How do I want to get there? Personal goals, professional goals. All right, then it goes into areas of focus. So it's a very, very comprehensive planner. And I really, 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 really like this one. But I like planners, family, that, like, for January, you can see all of January, on 2 pages. And then when you go to the actual day, right? Like Monday, it starts at 5 a.m. It goes to 10 p.m. So I'm going to challenge you as a new business owner to have a couple of things. One, because you got to start writing down where you're headed. So one, I'm going to challenge you guys, right? I'm going to challenge you guys to get a 3 to 5 subject notebook, right? Because you're going to need to take notes. Like, I want you to dedicate that notebook just to foreign exchange, like just one for foreign exchange. And if you're going to build as well, I want you to get a whole separate notebook that you dedicate to your business on building a team, residual income. So you really have 2 businesses under one umbrella. So I would, if I were you, because I have 2 separate things going, one that's very kind of empty because I'm just starting my FOREX training. And then one that's very full because I've been digging down into building a residual income. But you want to go ahead and launch your Epic University. Like, that's day one. It's funny because, we have this way that people can earn without getting a customer. Not everybody is good at getting customers, which you don't need really, but not everybody's good at getting business partners. Not everybody's comfortable talking to people. Not everybody has a really big network. So inside of your platform is FOREX trading. Why not learn to trade? If you're in this business, and I don't care if you're in the United States, I don't care if you're in Ghana, UK, Bermuda. I don't care if you're in, Canada or Australia. You have the ability to learn the skill set of foreign exchange and begin to create an income for yourself. If you're in business, if it's not taken off for you like you wanted, and you said, I wanted to build, you still have a whole nother department that you can be participating in. So launch your Epic University. Now, what's funny is a lot of people will say, one girl told me, she said, I'm scared to start my Epic University. I'm like, baby, it doesn't bite. You know what I mean? It doesn't bite. It's just going to guide you gently through the process of learning. The unknown, something that's new, we get it. Sometimes we're scared, but don't be scared. Just start. Like, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with that one step. Take that one step. Let's get out there and launch your Epic University, and you'll find that you're going to actually enjoy it. And your mind always wants to absorb something new. Who was it I was talking to? Ethan and the other day, and then I was talking to Tyrone today, and Tyrone was like, the whole idea of learning something new, he was excited about the whole idea about being able to learn and being able to educate. Ethan was saying that there are things that he wants to do in life, and in order to be able to do those things, sometimes you got to learn a new skill set. So that's where we are. So launch your Epic University. We show you in the presentation, you have those downloadable documents, you have the 2-week syllabus, you have the trading in the zone, you have the candlestick Bible, and you have the affirmations. Maybe you don't print the trading in the zone and the candlestick Bible because combined, that's over 400, 300 pages to print. So you can read those online. That's fine, on your Kindle or your phone. But I would recommend that you print those affirmations, but don't just print them, begin to speak them. I'm going to tell you that your business, your success in both sides of the business here, your success is going to be 90% mental. It's going to be 90% attitude and 10% aptitude. You really are going to want to dive into, right? Dive into mentally beginning to see yourself succeeding. And so some of the things that, Coach Max has in those, that she talks about as a trader, and the things that you're going to speak over your business as a trader, you're going to want to make sure that you begin to do that. Sign up for the Telegram groups, register in TradeView, right? Go to the calendar, because you're adding this into your life, you're going to have to say, well, you know what? On my calendar, Monday, I'm good. I can do my training 9 to 10 or 9 to 11 once the kids go down. Tuesday, I'm off on Tuesday, so I'll do 10 in the morning to 12 noon. Wednesday, I'm gonna. Does that make sense? So you're gonna start to plan your life, plan your new business around your life, and then go into the calendar on the events for our FOREX trading platform online, and actually begin to drop down the events that fit into your time frames. Does that make sense? You may have to make some adjustments, but go ahead and do that. I want you to go ahead and set up a separate checking account. Now, you may be saying, well, why do I need a separate checking account? Well, understand something, you're in business, right? So since you're in business for yourself, you need to run your business like a business. You got to run your business like a business. So what that means is you have your personal account, right? And this is where you pay all of your household bills. This is where your household stuff comes from, right? But you are now also a business owner. So once you decided to get started, you're a business owner. Like I was telling Bishop Battle the other day, he was saying, well, can you do it online? You can do it right online. You just want to get a separate personal checking account so that you can have a check card, right? And you don't need checks, and it doesn't need to be a business account. Okay, so you don't get a business account. You don't need all that, because you don't need to go get like anything from the city, like a license or anything like that. We're under a home-based business platform, so you don't need that. Get a basic account, right? A basic account. If you're at that age, if you're young enough and you're in college, you can get this student checking. But they have some basic accounts that either have $0, $2, or $4 on a monthly basis is what your actual business cost is, and that's tax deductible too. But we want you to go ahead and get a business account because you don't, as quickly as possible. Now, the government understands when you first get started, you may not have all ducks in a row. That's fine. But after a few months, you don't want your business expenses coming out of your personal account, and you never want your personal expenses coming out of your business account. Like, that is an absolute no-no. So you do not want to, this is what the government calls it. They call it commingle. It is to commingle your funds. So you never want to actually commingle your funds. Never want to do that. So go ahead and get a bank account with a Visa check card, right? And you can use that to run your business. Does that make sense? So you want to do that. Let's see. Next is, and go ahead and prep the last 6 months of receipts of anything that you've paid for over the last 6 months, because a lot of that is going to become tax deductible. Some of that, I won't say a lot, I don't know what you did, but some of those things are going to become tax deductible. Since you got started now, they'll be tax deductible in 2021. Okay, so go ahead and get that. Does anybody have any questions on what we've covered so far? Does anybody have any questions on kind of the basics of launching your FOREX trading platform? Once you get in FOREX, it takes you down that journey. So we're not going to cover that whole journey with you. When you start your Epic University and you start tying into Coach Max, it's going to take you down that journey. Okay, so we're talking about how to get off to a good, clean start. That's what we're talking about now. If it makes sense, drop a 1 in the chat so that we can move on. Does everybody understand that? I don't know how the tax laws work. Angela, Samira, Godwin over in the UK and down in Ghana. But I do believe, that everybody needs to keep their businesses and the income and their personal income separate, just because, right? So, and that's because you're going to have some write-offs. Now, let's talk about if you're going to grow your team. All right, Ethan. Thank you, Ethan. If you're going to grow your business team and you're going to business and you're going to build a team, a lot of the same parameters are applicable. Is that you have to set a goal. Now, on this side, of course, we have the compensation schedule. Okay. Our goal, and we originally were saying, we want to hurry up and get everybody to Founder 500. And that's kind of okay. But I think what I want to do, let me do this, guys. I think what I want to do now is I want to focus people a little bit differently. So what we're going to start focusing on, well, we're going to focus on Founder 500, but then I want to add another slide, because the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus you on, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to add a slide. All right. And then I'm going to come back to this. I got to build this slide out, but I want to add this slide because what we want to do is focus on, we want your first landing pad is Founder 1000. Now, of course, to get to Founder 1000, right, you have to go through, and I'll build that out a little bit later. You have to get through to Founder 500. However, we don't want you to be happy at Founder 500. Nobody came over here for $125 a week, but we want to focus on getting you there as quickly as possible, because we want to focus on getting you profitable as quickly as possible. So let's talk about that part. First things first, of course, you have to set a goal. And so one of the first goals that you're actually going to set, so I kind of have these slides backwards. I mean, these two boxes backwards, but one of the first goals that you really want to set, family, is you really want to set a goal to get your first 3 bought on board as quickly as possible, preferably within your first 72 hours to 5 days, right? And so we're going to talk about the process of that in just a second. But let's set a date for it. Oftentimes people start but have no end game. You know what I mean? I'm working on getting 3 and free. Okay, by when? And it's not 3 and free, but 3 and the fee waived. Okay, but by when? So let's set a goal for when you will want to have that fee waived. Let's set a goal for that. And again, we say 72 hours to 5 days. But then we want to get you to Founder 500 because we want to immediately get you profitable. If you're building a team, that's the first place. Well, when you get your 3 and they waive your fee, technically that's a place of profit as well, because that's $1,300 annually you no longer spend. But we're talking about where you're actually bringing it in is to get you to Founder 500. On the top side, guys, 28 days. But I'm going to input in here. Remind me, Rhonda, I want to input that we really want to help you to get there, guys, within your first 14 days. So I am going to be dropping in the chat a young lady that she got started 4 days ago, and she's a Founder 500. So we know that it doesn't take long. Down in Nigeria, we had a young man get started, and had I not had conference calls and stuff last weekend, he would have actually qualified to Founder 500 inside of his first 24 hours, top side 48 hours. So we know it doesn't take that long as we focus. Does that make sense? So we want to get you profitable as quickly as possible, but you personally want to set a goal. When do you want that to happen? Like, this is your company. When would you, thank you, Rhonda. When would you actually want that to happen is what we're talking about. So let's talk about the whole process. First things first, of course, the goal is you get started, and then we bring in those actual first 3 champions that join your team. But then from there, what the goal is to bring 3 on the first team, and to bring 3 on the second team, and then to bring 3 on the third team. And even though the company says that you only need this one right here, what we're going to train you to do is build your team as evenly as possible. We're going to train you to build it as evenly as possible, because we don't want to look at the third team and say, oh, well, I don't need to do that much in that team. No, that team is just as viable a person as any other person. So you want to have those, help them to get their 3, right? So again, because we're not just building towards 500, we're actually building towards that 1,000. So let's go ahead and get each of those teams their 3. So now you have 4 in each of the team, 4, 4, 4, even though as far as Founder 500 is concerned, you only need 4, 4, 2, right? You only need that 442. All right, so now, but again, our first landing pad is 1,000. So we really want to get you to 1,000, and then we want to get you, like, we want your next focus to be 10,000. So your primary focus is going to be 1,000, getting to $1,000 a month, right? Or every 28 days, 13,000 a year. And then your second, and I'll build this out by tonight, I'll figure out what I want to put in here. But then your second goal is going to be able to get to 10,000. Now there are blocks in between, but your question may be like, but how do I get to 10,000? Like, that's just such a big elephant to eat. Well, we're going to do it one bite at a time. First things first. Mr. McCovey says this. Mr. McCovey says that the secret sauce in this platform, the secret sauce in this business, he says, is to help everybody, number one, get on your team and get what we call that getting position, right? And that's the P in this training. And then number two, to get their 3, right? That's right here. Everybody get their 3. So that's T. And then number 3, he says, is to get everybody to $500, right? So we call it PT5. The thing is, the more people that you break to $500, the higher you go up the comp plan, the higher they go up the comp plan. So if you look into your team and on everybody on your team, as you're building, you make sure they get their 3 and you make sure they get to 500. And then you take their 3, like, for example, if this was the person here and you were going to make sure that each person got their 3, right? Well, that means that person up there in the top circle just got to 500. So you're like, oh, okay, wonderful. The person up top is now at 500. Okay, but her 3 right here, they need to get to 500. So what's your next goal? Help each of them to get to 500. Does that make sense? And when you do that, right, they all move to 500, but the person up top, which could be you, has just moved to 1,000. So how do I get to 10? Very simply, help each of these 3 to get their 3, which is 9 more in each of these teams, right? You understand that it won't grow in tandem like that. But now these are 3 and free. These are at 500. These are at 1,000. And this person's at 2,000. But you just broke, right? You just broke another set of people that are at Founder 500. So Mr. McCovey says, get everybody 3 and free as quickly as possible and $500. Then take their 3 and get them to $500. And then take their 3 and get them, does it make sense? And just keep doing it over and over and over again. That's the secret sauce to how you move quickly to $1,000 and how you move quickly to $10,000 every single 28 days is by breaking a whole bunch of Founder 500s, right? That's how you're going to do that. So let's recap. You get started. You become an EPIC IBO. I shouldn't say IBO, so I got to fix that. You become an EPIC scholar. So you become an EPIC scholar. It costs you $99.99, right? Costs you $99.99. And then what you want to begin to do is you're going to actually, once you have these 3 right here, it is imperative that now you log in and you become an IBO, right? You actually become an IBO, and it's going to cost you $24.99. How are we going to get you those 3? We're going to either do that via social media. We're going to do launch calls. We're going to do it face-to-face. We're going to do Zoom webinars for you, whatever it takes, because our goal is to make sure that each of your 3 do the exact same thing and they actually get their 3. We're going to make sure each of them get their 3. But let me pause for 1 second just to emphasize something. This part right here is very, very critical. As soon as you have these 3, it will light up in your back office to become an IBO. As a matter of fact, I had Carmel send me a picture on last night. Carmel. All right, so once she had her 3, and she had her 3 the other day, but she hadn't become an IBO. So I'm like, don't forget, because you can't become a Founder 500 or anything without that IBO. So it'll light up in your back office like that. Y'all see that? Like, none of y'all see become an IBO under the word dashboard in your back office until you have those 3. So you can only become an IBO once you have those 3. IBO costs you $24.99. My slide says 25. Costs you $24.99 to actually become an IBO. It is only after that that the company takes that $99 and they waive that fee. So it's not technically 3 and free, it's 3 and your fee is waived because now you'll only pay the IBO fee of 99 cents. But very, very critical that as soon as you have those 3 that you actually log in and become an IBO, right? Next piece, okay? Here is my favorite part. If it is to be, it's up to me. Oftentimes, we're waiting to see what our team is going to do. Oftentimes, we're waiting to see what our upline is going to do. This company doesn't belong to your downline. It doesn't belong to your upline. It is your company. So somebody please put in the chat for me, who does your company belong to? Who does your company actually belong to? What's the answer to that question? This is your business. It belongs to you. It belongs to you. So in this platform, I like to tell people, if it is to be, it's up to me. Now, it doesn't mean you got to, well, coach, if I want to earn $1 million every 28 days, it's all up to me. No. But when you're launching this platform, family, you don't have to wait for anybody to do what they need to do to get you to Founder 500, because not everybody, see here, and this is an important lesson for you to learn very, very early, right? So when you get people started in business right here, right? When you sponsor people on your team, there is a strong possibility that 8 out of every 10 people that you bring on your team, their goal is to earn their income in Forex. As a matter of fact, we want that. We encourage that. Why? Because we understand that people who are growing their income in Forex, they're excited and they stay, you know what I mean? Like, so our goal is to come and sound the alarms that, hey, you can come over here and earn a couple of grand, 3 grand, 4 grand a month in foreign exchange. So even if a person joins your team and they say, well, you know what, I only want to grow my income in Forex, right? And then this person says, I want to build. Even if they do that, some people say, well, they're not doing anything. And that is the worst thing in the world for you to think. So let me fix your minds before you move forward, that they are doing something as long as they stay active. Because remember, what's different if you've never built this type of business before, and what took me a long time to actually understand, is that the company only cares about how many people are in that team. They care about you having 4 in this team, 4 in this team, and 2 in this team, and that's going to make you a Founder 500. Let me ask you guys a question. If you have 4 people in this team and they all each wanted to do Forex, and you have 4 people in this team and they all each wanted to do Forex, and you had 2 people in this team and one was a builder and one wanted to do Forex, let me ask you a question. Are you a Founder 500? Yes or no? Y'all can drop the answer in the chat for me. Yes or no? Sylvia says yes. Erica says yes. Who else? Who else has a thought about that? If all of these people just want to do Forex, are you still a Founder 500? Rhonda says yes. Chantal says yes. All right. Excellent, Chantal. That is the answer. Excellent, Rhonda, Sylvia, Erica. That's the answer. See, the company doesn't say that you have to go and find all builders, right? And I understand that a lot of times if we're a builder, we're looking for builders, but your pipeline is going to be filled with all kinds of people. A, they're going to only want to do Forex. B, they're only going to want to build. C, they're going to want to do both. And what happens is, for the company, as far as they're concerned, as long as you are at 442, where you're earning, that $500, as long as you're at 12,6, where you're earning, $1,000, as long as, does that make sense? As long as you're at 200, 100 round, right? I found a 500 with one baby builder, right? It doesn't matter what they want to do. That's right, Erica. It doesn't matter. So yours is exactly what I put up here on the screen. You got one builder and everybody else wants to do Forex. So you have to understand. Let me just go back. I want to just cover something real quick. If you understand this particular chart right here, guys, if you understand this chart and you start to look at the income levels, right? 4 in the first team, 4 in the second team, 2 in the third, no matter what they're doing, Founder 500. 12, 12, 6, no matter what they're doing, Founder 1000. 32, 32, 16, no matter what they're doing, Founder 2000. 100, 150, no matter what they're doing, Founder 5,000. So Mr. McCovey says that about 80% of the people that join the platform, their focus is to earn their income in what? In Forex. Well, if that is the case, right? If that is the case, why not encourage as many people as possible to learn that skill set? Don't ever feel like if I don't have a bunch of people on my team that want to build, that my team is not growing. That is not the purpose of this platform. Remember, we want to empower people to earn income in a pandemic-free, contact-free environment. Make sense, guys? So I just want you to understand that whatever people want to do in your company, encourage them to do what they want to do because it is their company, right? Does that make sense? All right. So if it is to be, it's up to me, right? Mindset has to be, that you personally can get yourself to Founder 500. And you're probably saying like, for real? Oh yes, the company doesn't say that. All right, so let me ask you this question. I'm not gonna even say it. So you get started, you bring on your mom, you bring on your best friend, and you bring on your sister. And then you also go and, you bring on 3 coworkers. You put one of your coworkers here, you put one of your coworkers here, you put one of your coworkers here. And then you go and you bring on three soccer league moms, right? And you put one of the soccer league moms here. Well, I'm gonna tell you to do it this way, actually. Hold on. You put one of the soccer league moms here, or if it's your mom, you might say, well, you know what? I want to give my mom her first 3. You put one of the soccer league moms here, one of the soccer league moms here. You put one of the soccer league moms here. So because you went and you recruited 3 soccer league moms. And maybe you went and recruited 2 people from the choir. And so you put one of the choir members here, and you put one of the choir members here. You recruited personally 11 people. But all 11 people you personally recruited. Let me ask you a question. Are you a Founder 500? This is you. You personally went and recruited 11 people by yourself. Are you a Founder 500? Yes or no? Because they didn't come from your team. They came from you. So the question is, are you a Founder 500? Sylvia says yes. What do you guys think? All right. Chantal says yes. Okay. What do you guys think? Miss D says yes. Mr. and Mrs. D. All right. Anybody else got a thought? What do you think? And you ladies would be right. The answer is yes. The company doesn't care. There you go, 442. The company doesn't care what they're doing or who put them there, right? The company does not care. As long as when they take a snapshot of your back office, like Ms. D said, you got 442, you are a Founder 500. So if that is the case, why would you wait? Why would you wait on somebody and say, my team is not doing, my 3 are not doing, my, right? Listen, go out there and do it yourself. I'm going to challenge you that if you plan on building, do not come into the thought of building with, I'm just going to get my 3. That is not how a builder thinks. So if you're a new builder, if you're a baby builder, let me educate you real quickly. Builders don't build on minimums. Y'all write that down. Builders do not build on company minimums. That 3 is the company minimum to be active, right? And to be able to earn in the comp plan. But Mr. McCovey says that your first goal as a builder is to bring in 10. That's your first goal. Teaching the trade and then their family. That's right. That's your first goal, is to bring in your first 10. Once you have 10 personals, your second goal is to bring in, add another 20 so that you have a total of 30 personal recruits. But coach, it only says 3. I know what it says. I understand what it says, right? But that's not how you build if you're going to ultimately build a big builder. That's just what the company said must minimally stay in place in order for you to earn all the way through the comp plan. But a builder is never going to rely on company minimums. So I do recommend the ultimate memory jogger. I recommend that you take every single name out of your cell phone. I recommend that you write down every name on every business card that you've ever had. I recommend all of those things. I recommend all of those things to you. Does that make sense? Because the more, this is a numbers game, and it's you that want to get to 1,000. It's you that want to get to 10,000. Why would you wait on what somebody else did? Because you're going to have people on your team that they only want to trade Forex. They're not going to bring in team members. So you will put somebody under them and you'll keep building down. B, you're going to have some people that want to build, right? But they may not be fast builders, right? So you're going to have, you're going to be building around them as well and down helping them. And then C, you're going to have people that they come and they go. That's just the nature of the beast. I mean, I use this scenario, and where there's a seed, the parable of the sower and the seed, and one seed fell on rocky soil, and so that's one of your team members, right? Well, actually, they didn't even get started because they fell on rocky soil, and then in two, this is the person that got in. They fell on shallow soil, so they got in, but their dream was was wiped away. The birds got them. Their dream was just plucked away from them because somebody said no, or somebody said that'll never work, or whatever. And then three, you have the ones that fell on fertile soil, right? FERTILE, the ones that fell on fertile soil. So even in that example, we understand that it's only 1/3, right? Eric Worre says this. He says, if you were to go out and put, I think it's either around 20 or 30 people on your team as a builder, 20 or 30 people on your team as a builder. If you look up in a year, you're going to have probably 12, I think he said. And if you look up in 2 years, you're going to have 8. Those are the 8 right there. That's the fertile. Does that make sense, guys? So you don't want to just build to the number you think, like, I just want to get to my 3. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to think like that. Continue to always be in phase 1, and phase 1 is to always be recruiting. If recruiting is going to be, if your goal is to get to that $10,000 a month, you know what I mean? You want to always be recruiting. How did they? Somebody said always be. Somebody said it some way that it was ABC. Always be. I forget, but anyway, I'll figure it out. But okay, so now let's talk about the next step. This is how you have to understand business. And I don't care if you're selling pencils, lemonade. We talk about the homeless person who stands out, and they understand it's a numbers game. They understand every car is not going to give them money that passes by. Everybody's not going to be nice that passes by. Not everybody's going to be respectful that passes by, but every now and then somebody's going to give them money. And so they don't pack up and go home simply because somebody said no. They just wait on the next car. Hank Aaron, missed 8 out of 10, at bats. He was either struck out, fouled out, whatever the case may be. Hank Aaron earned hundreds of thousands of dollars years ago, which is equivalent to millions today, missing the ball more than he connected. I tell you those stories, like Michael Jordan, missing 33,000 shots. None of us remember that because the ones he made were just so phenomenal, right? But the fact of the matter is, you will fail more than you succeed. Somebody put that in the chat for me. You will fail more than you succeed. But the fact of the matter is you don't have to succeed 100% of the time. You don't need 100% of your people to be, 100% of the people that you talk to be rock star. You just need a few rock stars. Does that make sense? So you're going to have to fail if you're going to succeed. And failure is not, I don't even know if it's the word failure. You're going to miss the ball sometimes. It's okay. You're going to strike out sometimes. It's okay. That's right, Chantal. You will fail more than you succeed, but it's okay because it's those few successes in network marketing that will make that difference for you. So we say make a list of at least 70 to 100 names. So let's just base this example on 70. You actually make a list of 70. So one of the things that we want to do for you if you're brand new is we want to have a grand opening launch Zoom party for you, where we're going to invite your friends. So you make a list of 100 people, and we're going to say call all 100 to get on your webinar, right? Now, what we understand as far as numbers are actually concerned is that, only 80 of them will you actually be able to invite, because some of them want to say call back later. Some of them, they don't have the same number, right? And some of them are going to say, hey, go kick rocks. I'm not interested. I mean, it's just life. Everybody you call is not going to be perfect timing for them. Now, they may not say kick rocks, but I make a joke of it because I want you to understand it's okay if they say I'm not interested, right? So let's just say you invite 80. Out of the 80 that you invite, 65 of them say, yeah, I'll get on your webinar, right? I don't mind. Okay, fantastic. I'll do that. But when you go to confirm them, like you'll say, you might send that day you might send it, your flyer, or that day, like the day before or the day that you're reminding them, you might send something that says, by the way, did I ever send you the link for tomorrow at 8 o'clock? And they say, oh man, 10 of them say, I forgot, Lord. You know what I mean? Because life happens. I don't know if you've ever got off the phone with somebody, told them you were going to do something, somebody else called, your mind totally forgets what you just told them. And the next time you remember it is after when you were supposed to do it. It's just life. So they don't mean to not remember. They just didn't remember. That's just the way life is. So 10 of them say, I forgot, right? Yeah, you can't get mad because you never know. If you forget stuff, don't think that just you forget. We all, Lord, we all forget, right? So you're only able to confirm 55 of them. And then we have the webinar, and guess what? Only 40 of the 55 even get on the webinar. Then while we're doing the webinar, 10 of them drop off because the phone rang, a YouTube notification popped up, the child just, crying for mama, you need to cook dinner, something you forgot. I mean, just life happens and they drop off, right? So at the end of the day, though, you have 30 people that watch the full presentation. Now, I'm not saying this would just happen on one presentation. This could be over the course of 2 or 3. Right? But your goal is to invite all 100 to the first one, but you may not get there. But I just want to give you the numbers, how the numbers play out. And so you end up signing up 10 to 12. That makes you a founder 500. Because you can put those 10 to 12 wherever you want them. Does that make sense? It's all numbers. It's all math. There's nothing personal about this thing, family. When you share with people and they say no, that's not a personal attack on you or anything like that. It's just that, it's not always a perfect time. Now, I will tell you, let me go back a second. For those 15 right here, let me draw it. Those 15 right here that forgot to show up, or the 10 that forgot they were supposed to show up, it's a very, very easy invite the next time. You can say, listen, I was really, really so embarrassed that I had told my mentor that you were going to be on the webinar and you didn't even show up. So I'm going to do it again this coming Friday. I know you're going to be there to support me this time, right? With a question mark in your voice, right? Right? And of course, because they feel bad because they missed it and probably missed it non-intentionally, they're going to be there. So that makes that invite a little bit better. You're going to also go and call back some of the people that said, call me back next week. It doesn't make sense. And then some of the people that fell off. So you get to work that list of 100 and get as much out of it, right? I used that one on Saturday. Very good. Very good, Rhonda. And get as much mileage out of that list as possible. Am I telling you to stop at 100? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As many as possible. So your goal is to pique their interest, not to do the presentation when you invite them. That's not the goal. You just want to pique their interest. Then you want to expose them to the information. I would love to do a private webinar for each of you guys. I don't mind doing one-on-one. Sylvia will tell you that. Rhonda will tell you that. And then, of course, that's the first best way is if we can do a private webinar for you or a private one-on-one or a small group for you. The second best is to get them on the team webinars. They're at 3 o'clock every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and at 9 o'clock. And then the next, and then the last best, of course, you can always send them on a video, do a recorded video. You can do a watch party, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So we have, I think on my page right now might be 6 or 8 webinars, Zoom webinars. And if you wanted to do a watch party in a private group yourself, like invite a bunch of friends and create a private group and do a watch party, like say it's going to start at 8 o'clock and do your own private watch party, you can do that. Does that make sense? So, but always, always, always get people on a 3-way call. And I'm just really proud of you guys. A lot of you do exactly that. You get people on that 3-way call. Tonight, I'm going to go into depth about the script. I'm not going to cover it right now because it is in the middle of the day. But family, remember that this is about duplication. And oftentimes people are going to do what you do. So if you make a massive list, Chantal, and you're the new young lady that we're going to be talking to today for you, and she says, well, Dad, Chantal, how big of a list did you make? And you said, girl, my list was 370 people. Now she has something to live up to. Does that make sense? Because she's going to duplicate what you did. If Chantal said, oh, girl, I made a list of 7 people. Now she's going to live up to what you did. Does that make sense? Now, some people may do more, but most people kind of look to you because you're their leader, you're their guide. Even though we may say one thing, they're going to look to what you did to determine what they do because you're the book that they're reading, right? Launch your business within 24 hours. We want to go ahead and have that first presentation for you as quickly as possible. Hey, Brandon, when did you do your first webinar? Oh, shoot, I knocked out my first webinar in my first 2 weeks. I had to get past Christmas and I wasn't feeling that great, but then I knocked it out. Great, I'm going to get mine done within 2 weeks. Does that make sense? Or hey, Samara, when did you do your first webinar? Shoot, I knocked it out within the first 72 hours. Okay, well, I'm going to do mine within 72 hours. Does that make sense, family? That they're going to duplicate what you do. If you introduce your team member to the leader, they'll introduce their team member to you. But if you never introduce your team member, they'll never introduce their team members because they don't know to. Does that make sense? Because it was never done for them. Like Chantal, right? Carmen introduced you to me. Carmen has introduced me to Tangela. Who else did she have on her team? Her husband, her mom. I've talked on the phone with everybody that's in her team, every single person. Well, I talked to Carolyn today. So besides her stepmother and Carolyn, I've talked to everybody that's on her team, every single person. So what do you think her team members are going to do? When they get started, they're going to either call Carmel, Sean, myself, or Ray Sean. They're going to introduce their persons because they're going to do what they see you do. Make sure you plug your members into the training. That's right. They're going to do the same thing. If you get on the training and you invite them to the training, they'll get on the training, invite their team to the training. You don't get on the training and they get on the training and don't see you. Next time you get on, they won't be there. Because they do what you do, not what you say do. We grown. We're not going to do what you say as much as we do what you do. It is duplication, family. You got to make sure that you mind your business. You got to make sure that, you pop in and ask to help. When we were having hotel meetings, there would be people that say, okay, I'll take the money at the front desk. I'll do the name tags. I'll do the introduction. I'll do, right? Do that here. Even though we're on a Zoom webinar, find out, where can I help, coach? Where can you put me in, coach? What else can I do? Because that has nothing to do with me wanting you to do it. That has to do, that's right, introduce everyone. That's right. That's exactly right, Mrs. Z. Even that helps you to grow. So a perfect example is Rhonda. Rhonda is always like, oh, that's Carmel. Oh, hey, girl. I was talking about you. That's funny. All right. But because Rhonda chips in wherever, and even sometimes she may be doing the webinar and nobody shows up, and I'll be up there, for support. And Rhonda's doing a full webinar, all excited, all details, all in, and it's just me and her because she's learning to be that leader and to pitch in. So this past weekend, it was a no-brainer to say, hey, Rhonda, Tony can't make it. Can you fill in? And that's who you want to be. Because guess what happens with your team? They're like, well, shoot, wait a minute. Okay. So Godwin is doing this. I'm going to do what Godwin's doing. Duplication. Here is a scary number and then we're done, right? Oops. Here's a scary number and then we're done. Actually, can I write on that? Let me see if I can write on this screen. Can y'all see this? Because I like that. Well, I'll do it over here. Okay. Your team will do, right? This is what your team will do. 50% of what you do right. 50% of what you do right. Is that a scary number? It's a scary number, isn't it? So only half of what you would do right is what your team is going to do. Just like children, right? But they will do 100% of what you do wrong. So you have to kind of try to walk this straight and narrow as much as possible. No, none of us are perfect. All of us are going to make mistakes, right? None of us are perfect. But you want to do as much of what you can to do as much right as possible to give your team the best guidance as possible, right? Well, coach, there's nobody on my team yet. Then you need to start practicing now so that when they join your team, it's not a hard switch. Some people don't get on the webinars and they don't get on the trainings because they don't have a team. Oh, so you're just going to start, you're going to break a bad habit as once somebody joins your team. Remember, you are watching you every time you do or do not do what you need to do. And so you got, for example, it's me, myself, and I. And if I'm not doing the right things, I'm not going to remember to keep doing the right things just because I sponsored Jim. So get in the habit now of doing those things that you're going to want your team to do. Most people want to recruit a superstar. My question is, are you setting yourself up to be the superstar who can recruit a superstar. If a superstar got on, started to join your team today, who are you? Are you doing the things that a superstar can duplicate? So you want to become the superstar you want to recruit. Become that person yourself, because this is all about duplication. And the more you can help your team to duplicate the system, the better off it's going to be for everyone. Make sense, guys? So with that, we are done. What questions do you have, if any, about anything that you've seen? One of the things I will tell you, we have, okay, so we're not together. So we can't hug each other and say, welcome, right? Congratulations, attaboy. We can't do that because we're not together. So where do we show up together? We show up together on Zoom. We show up together in the Facebook group. So if you see somebody who just got started, welcome them. If you see somebody who just started their university, welcome them. Because I'm going to start doing, congratulations when you start your university, when you, I think, what did we say, Ethan? When you open your demo account, when you open your live account, and when you get a profit, right? And now you have to tell us that because we can't see it. We can see it on the building side. We can't see it on the Forex side, what your success is. So you have to tell us. But if you see somebody and there's a congratulatory post, congratulate them. Does that make sense? Because we can't do it in person. We can't do, attaboys in person. We can't hug and love on people in person, but people will look and see, are they, who is it that's giving me love? And you want to be that person, not the person who looks up to see after you bring somebody in. Oh, wait a minute. Where are the people to post under my post? Does that make sense? Like, what does the Bible say? To be a friend? Let me see. To be a friend, show yourself friendly or something like that. Does that make sense? So be the person you want to recruit. Be the recruit. Be who you want to recruit. Do you want to recruit you? And if so, that's great. But we all have some things we want to work on. Like, I want to recruit one of me, but she needs a few more things ironed out, right? Does that make sense? Be that recruit. Be the example to your team that you blow people's posts up. You're not limited to just saying welcome. You can say welcome, put a GIF, can put an emoji, what I mean? You can do as much as you want to do under somebody's post. Love on people. If you want love, show love. If you want friends, be friendly. Does that make sense? Because your team's watching you. I'm going to promise you, because I get people that say something. Your team watches what you do and what you don't do. Make sense? Leadership, guys. Leadership. Any questions before we go? We are done with that. Give twice as much as you take. Girl, you better say so. Make more deposits than withdrawals. Amen, Erica. Well said. Well said. Any other questions? You can come off mute if you need to. And guys, that doesn't just go for the Facebook group. That goes for our WhatsApp international group as well. Don't be quiet in the group. Be a noisemaker. I'm going to tell you what Grandma used to say. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. Y'all got it? All right, got it. All right, family. Well, listen, it has been as always, my pleasure to work with you, teach and train you, grow you, guide you. I am an open book, and I have an open door policy. Anything that you need, you don't have to go through anybody to reach out to me. You can reach out to me directly. You're quite welcome. I am here, and that's my purpose, is to make sure that you're successful. Fair enough? So with that being said, we'll be back here tonight at 9 p.m. for another presentation. I know Carmel already has 3 or 4 people lined up. Bring 3 or 4 or 5 people with you to the presentation, right? Bring 3 or 4 or 5 people. International, that's exactly right. So God bless each and every, make some noise. That's exactly right. Make some noise, because your upline's watching and your team is watching. Everybody's watching, okay? God bless you. See you guys later. Have an incredible rest of your afternoon or evening. And this particular webinar is officially over, and we will talk to you guys at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.